So what is going on, guys? It's Triple G here, back with another Tribes of Midgard video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Saga Boss 2, how to get there as fast as possible, and some tips along the way that will help you fight the boss at the end. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week, and otherwise let's get straight into this video. So of course this week Tribes launched a new Saga Boss, and this Saga Boss is the Serpent Saga. Now please don't ask me to pronounce the name because I'm terrible at it, but the Serpent Saga Boss is actually much easier than Fenrir, particularly as Fenrir has 2 versions and they're actually quite difficult and they make you go through multiple stages. The journey to the Serpent Saga Boss is actually really easy. So let's get straight into it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is think about your starter kit. Now I highly recommend the new starter kit, the builder starter kit. I recommended this in my previous video. Please go and check that out if you don't understand what I'm talking about. But there is a new starter kit that allows you to walk in with 10 pieces of wood, 10 pieces of cut stone, and 10 pieces of raw iron. Give you that boost if you want to get that quarry or that shipyard up as fast as possible. Going to be really critical if you want to do speed runs. That being said, a Serpent Saga run does not need any of the event fragments or the quest fragments or the hideout fragments. It's actually really simple. What you need to do is you need to go to the beaches and hit those camps. Now when you hit those camps, they're going to give you a beacon map. You need to find 3 of these beacon maps in order for you to then unlock the hideout. Sounds simple enough, but just remember that the power levels in some of those beaches can be up to 270, so make sure that you have enough equipment on you that you're able to do it. Once you have unlocked the 3 beacon maps, I highly recommend that you then go and look at your shipyard. You don't need it to accrue materials in order for you actually to have enough materials to sail. It is going to be the spun yarn, which is what you're going to need to do. Now if you're doing this solo, it is going to be the spun yarn, which is mainly what you're going to need to find. Now if you're doing this solo, you will only need to make the tier 1 boat, which is really good news because it only carries 1 and it can get around pretty nicely on its own. It's smaller, so it's easier to navigate through those tight spaces as well. So you've got your 3 beacon maps. They have appeared on the map and you're ready to go and build your shipyard. You've got your ancient cores, you've got everything to go. You go to your shipyard and you make your boat. And the first thing you do is walk over to the shore and put your boat in the water. Now, I do not recommend that you actually do that. What you should do is go and look at your map and look at where the actual beacons are. This is a procedural generated map. And if you put your boat down by the shipyard, it could be a country mile away from the beacons. In the spawn that I used last time, I had 2 beacons fairly close together and then another beacon pretty far away. So I walked my boat over to the other side of the map for a quick journey to the 2 and then just made one final journey down to the bottom. And as it happened, the hideout was right next to me. So the strategy is pretty simple. Once you have those islands unlocked, you are going to be going over to those islands. Now these islands have these new enemy types that are linked together. Now you can pile in there if you want. Now some of the class recommendations I make for this, one is the Berserker. The stun mechanic on the Berserker for mobbing is excellent. You're able to do AoE damage from the explosion as well. However, the Warrior is really good as well, because the Warrior can have that immunity roll to get you out of trouble if need be, and he has that extra damage output that he can do. Just remember, if you're going over to those islands as well, if it's nighttime, it is going to be very cold. So make sure you have some potions that will allow you to stay over there if it does turn nighttime. Also, while you're approaching the attack, be aware of the poison traps that will damage both you over time and your mana. So be very careful to time it as you go through into the camp. Now that you've killed all the enemies at those 3 camps and lit the beacons, don't forget to do that, it's the big thing in the middle. You've grabbed the chest, you're now ready to go to the hideout. Now if you're very used to Tribes, you'll probably be thinking, well hold on, if I go to the hideout I still need all these other tokens. You actually don't for this one. It's really simple. You get those 3 islands done, you've lit the beacons, then you just go straight over to the hideout. Highly recommend you get that fast travel over there in case you die. You do not want to have having to ship back over there back and forth. go and get that fast travel first, and then go straight through the portal, and we are into the final boss. Now, the final boss is actually much simpler than Fenrir. You have a horseshoe area of which you can walk around in, and you can hit him whenever the serpent's nose or its face is closest to you. Now, there are a few tells that you can see that will allow you to get out of the way when he is attacking. When his head is forward, you can do lots of damage, and obviously when you're far away, you can do some ranged attacks. However, when he retreats his head back, that is when you need to retreat to the back end of the horseshoe. He cannot hit you on the back end when he tries to like bite down in front of you. The second type of attack he has is the tail whip, and the tail whip will appear on the side of the screen just before it attacks. This can sometimes happen at the same time that his face will also go back as well, so make sure that you are watching for that tail so you can not only retreat backwards but sideways as well, so you avoid that tail. The tail has a massive AoE. It's very hard to dodge, so make sure you have some health potions as well. Once you've got that boss to about halfway, that's when the second phase will come, and he will have some new attacks. Now, the bit that you're going to want to be looking for, he has a little green glow. When he has this green glow, he's going to be firing poison AoE at you. Now, the first few times are really easy to dodge. You'll see it go up his neck. Just retreat back to the edge of the horseshoe like we discussed, and you cannot get hit by it. However, eventually he will start to fire some actually at you rather than at the front of the actual horseshoe, so make sure that you're constantly moving. Sometimes he can fire up to 3 before he stops firing them, and all the time as well he's going to be doing his different attacks. So just keep rotating around the edge of that horseshoe and you should be absolutely fine. The final attack he does do as well is very similar to in the first stage of the fight, where he retreats back and then he headbutts the ground in front of you, and his head will actually be on the floor. If you manage to dodge this attack, which is extremely powerful, it will rip you to shreds. If you manage to dodge this, then you then have a free damage window to just hit him time and time again and get that damage in. In terms of equipment, definitely take 2 weapons. I found that I actually ran out of durability in one of my weapons and I died. I lost the souls that I did and I couldn't repair the weapon that I had. So if you have soul potions back at your base, make sure that you use them to repair your equipment if you die mid-fight, or if you don't plan to die, which obviously we all do, make sure you have a couple of weapons. Particularly the Nornir axe works well, that it has a bit of range. Make sure you have that. If you had a decent Jotun, you've got something with a bit of range that will really help you. This is not like Fenrir. You can't get underneath him and use that AoE, so you are going to want to have something with a bit of range. Overall, guys, once you have killed this boss, grab the loot and go out of the portal. Guys, that's it for today's video. If you have enjoyed this complete video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week, and otherwise I'll catch you on the flip.